Good. Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, how are you all? I'm Robert Miller, Managing Director of J&B Sewing Machine Company. We are the distributor in the UK for Grace Company quilting products. We are fortunate today to have Nathan and Carla, who are going to do an amazing presentation on the Q-Zone hoop frame and tell you some of the exciting things we've got coming in the coming months. I'll pass you over to Nathan and Carla.
Wonderful. Thanks, Rob. Again, Nathan.
Carla.
Here with the Grace Company here out of the US and our studio. We're excited to be with you, Rob. Thank you very much for having us on. Rob, if you're okay, I thought maybe really quick I could ask you a couple questions. Now, well, first and foremost, thanks from our side. We feel that you're doing such an amazing job at supporting not only your customers, but the Grace customers in general who have been in the UK over the last several years. And so with that, I just wanted to say thank you very much for letting us join you and participate. Thank you for taking care and doing such an amazing job. We love working with you as a distributor. We love all that brings to the table for your existing customers, for all of our past customers. And maybe, Rob, I could just have you share with us just a little bit. What has your experience been as you've been carrying the Grace products now for the last couple of years?
Well, thank you for those compliments, Nathan. It's a little over 2 years since you and I first met, and we decided we'd become partners in what has been a very exciting journey. We have taken it on board within our company, as we have always done with every product we've sold, to represent in an ambassadorial way the brand, and the brand are Grace. Far more important than any individuals, it is the brand. So the fact that I wasn't selling your products previously, we've inherited and taken on board all the service, the backup, the support, the help that any of these customers need. I pick up on email responses, even some of the American Facebook sites where if somebody's stuck, I'm happy if I have the knowledge to pass it on. If I don't, there's quite often people out there who know even better than I do. So it's worked really well. I feel the product is good. The backup from your company has been absolutely first class. And we're 2 years into what I consider to be what is going to be a lifetime's partnership.
Well, we really appreciate that, Rob. And I know I've had a chance to join you with a couple events. I know the ladies love you, and I just can't say enough about how much we really appreciate all that you have done. I know, Carla, you've been there at a show here a couple times as well. Tell me a little about how you felt about our partnership with Rob as well.
He's just a wonderful person and just a wonderful representative, full of love and caring, and he really takes his customers seriously and personally. And you won't find somebody who appreciates the business side of it as much as Rob. He appreciates you as customers, and he appreciates everybody he works with. And it's just been such a great experience. And actually, going to England's one of my favorite shows, and I've really missed it this year. It was kind of sad not to be able to travel and meet all you and be there with you.
With that, Carla, I think that's one of the reasons that doing something like this is so important. So thank you, Rob, for helping us connect with part of your customers. One of the things that we are looking to do is help bring some more information, more experiences into your home. And so, Rob, we've just been, again, we're super appreciative to be a part of what your current community is. Today, just to kind of give you a heads up, what we're looking at in front of us are our hoop frames. These are some of our most popular selling items. And I'm not sure if you've had a chance to see one, but we're going to answer some questions. Some of the things that people think of is like, oh, that's small, and am I limited? What can I do? I would say, what kind of machines can you work? How big of a quilt can you work with it? And we're going to talk about that entire experience today. So thanks for joining us. Stay with us. If you have questions, we would ask that you go ahead and you can comment and post those, and hopefully we can get through some of those. Rob, in the meantime, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how do they contact you and your business and your company?
There are a number of ways they can contact us. They can email sales@jbsewing.com. My direct email is rob@jbsewing.com. and the office telephone is 01633 281 555. Or finally, my mobile, which is always switched on, is 07836 634 731. Always happy to help.
Wonderful. And with that, if you're here viewing with us as you're watching, make sure, be prepared, maybe take a couple notes, because I'm thinking that there will be some additional questions. You can go ahead and again, go to jbsewing.com. You can call Rob and his team for additional questions, and we're going to encourage you to do so, because more than likely we're going to get through this. You're going to find a few exciting things. You're going to say, now what about?
Yes.
How about? And then we're going to say, give Rob a call. Go ahead, ping him on Facebook. You can make a comment on the YouTube, and then again, give him a call or send an email out. Now with that, Carla, what I want to talk about, maybe Rob, if we can start with this, is when we're at home and we're sewing, what are we usually using?
Our sweet little machine that we love so dearly, and it's near and dear to our hearts. It's a part of your life. It's a part of your sewing routine, and it's something that you know very well. You know its quirks. You know it's just like a kid. If it's behaving bad, you know how to fix it. So yeah.
Now with this, I could probably ask, if you're watching and I said, do you have a machine? Do you have two machines? Do you have three? You probably have several machines. One of the things that, Carla, I love that you really mentioned is if you've been using a machine, you're very comfortable. You're used to piecing or maybe sewing. One of the amazing things is that when you decide that you're looking to quilt, you start finding some complications.
Yes.
And I know you've seen some pretty interesting pictures. What are some of the big struggles that people have when they're quilting with their domestic machine on their tables?
Oh, it's a struggle to handle that big bulk of fabric through your little dinky machine at home. And you're pushing it. In fact, I saw a picture, I can't remember where it was. There's this lady, she was sitting down at the table on one end, and she had her quilt rolled up, and it's this big, huge king-size quilt. At the other end, that's what you saw. And she was trying to maneuver it through the throat of her machine. And I thought, wow, that says a lot. I mean, how is she going to quilt that? And she looked very depressed, and it was like, oh.
It can be a challenge. And I would say one of the things that Grace Company has done over the years is we've looked at solutions. What are some of your biggest challenges that you're experiencing? And then how can we provide a solution? And so in front of us today is one of those key solutions. This is the Q-Zone hoop frame. And we're going to just talk in general about the functions of these hoop frames. And then again, for additional questions, make sure to reach out to Rob, where he can help answer several of those questions for you. But Carla, this frame looks a little bit different. It looks smaller than some of the other frames that I've seen out there. Maybe why is this frame a little bit smaller? What's it trying to accomplish for us?
Well, it's a hoop frame. And just like a hoop, it accommodates a large quilt to a small quilt. So you're not limited to the size quilt that you can quilt. It just doesn't take up all the space. And what it also does is it just frees you up. So you're not pushing your fabric through the throat of the machine, but yet you're gliding your machine across your fabric, and it makes it easier to quilt.
Now, Carla, I really love that. Talking about removing the struggle, so we're not pushing. And I would like to say one of the most amazing things is that this is a very versatile frame, and it's very open when it comes to what machines can work with it. We're going to briefly show you that. But with that, Carla, I thought about the next thing that you talked about is not only getting rid of the struggle, but then more importantly is how easy the machine glides over the surface. And so I think that's very freeing. When I've not done a lot of quilting. I've completed, I think, 8 quilts personally in different ways. I love computer automation. We'll get to that later too. But I found that if I can sign my name and if I can draw any kind of a shape, that I felt pretty comfortable moving to this.
Right.
So with this, what we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and scoot around the back, Carla. I want to talk a little bit about the machine. We're going to put one on, and then we'll have you talk a little bit more about that process with us so that the consumers can see how easy it is to do so. All right.
It is easy.
What I'd like to do here really quick with the camera is I just wanted to point out, so the frame does come with the system, the rails, and this trolley. And most importantly, one of the things I like to show is the amount of space. The machine frame itself, if we take a look at this, doesn't have any height restrictions. So there's no height restrictions on this at all. So this one gives us plenty of room and plenty of depth. So there are some machines out there that are in the industry that are about 13 or 14. This current carriage will work with those machines. Really quickly, if you happen to have a 16-inch machine that you're pushing and you're using, we do have a special accessory. We're not going to talk about that here, but there is a way to make these handles bigger, but that is with an accessory. So you can see that this sits here, it moves. I'm going to take our machine, and this is our domestic machine that we have. So one of the things that's nice about this is this just sits on the plate. And from the side, one of the great things that we have is a way to help hold and clamp the machine in place. So those fit firmly against the machine to keep it from moving. You'll notice there's plenty of space around here. And now we'll go ahead and we'll take it off the rail here. I'll let you do that one. Okay. We're going to put the rail through the throat of the machine here. So what we're doing is there are a couple thumb screws that we can use that we loosen. That allows this to slide through the machine. And again, if you just think what we did. We had the frame set up. We lifted the machine. We sat it on the trolley. We took the rail and put that through the machine's throat. So now it's prepared. Carla, maybe you can just demonstrate how easy and how light that moves.
Oh, yes, for sure. See, it just glides so smooth and so free. And there's nothing hindering it. And you can tell that my movements, I'm not being stopped by anything.
So with that, I think what we'll look to do next, Carla, is maybe one of the biggest questions people are going to have is, one of the things I'm always asked is, what do I need to buy? And to let you know, the frame does come with the things that you're seeing, all the clips and the clamps and the trolley and the carriage and all those things that let you use your domestic machine. I did forget, once the machine's on here, we need to plug it in or else we're going to go start this and Carla's going to be, it doesn't work. So we're going to go ahead and plug the foot pedals in, and we do have the foot pedal underneath. But Carla, if you want, let's go ahead and show them some of the different pieces as you pull them off and talk about the clamps with everybody.
Talk about the clamps and the square pole.
Yeah, maybe we'll go ahead and if we can get a close-up on this, I'm going to show you this. This is a very unique clamp system here. And I like to maybe see if we can zoom in on this rail here. It's square. And I'm just going to do a quick pop off to show you here that it works like a ratchet. So I love just showing that what we've designed is every piece or part for its very specific function. All right, Carla, I'll move out of the way here and let you help show us how the quilt goes on.
Oh, okay. Okay, Nathan's going to be my lovely assistant. I hold my clamps. Now you can see I'm just taking my elastic straps off of my back clamps. Now these are adjustable straps. So as your quilt gets smaller or larger, they will adjust to the size of your quilt. So I'm just going to put the quilt on so that you can see that it will accommodate a larger quilt. And I'm just going to put it on through, throw the machine, and then up over. And I'm going to put it to one side so that you guys can see how it clamps over to the one side. All right. And I'm just taking the back clamp and re-securing it on the back of the throat of the pole. And then I'm just going to take my elastic straps and roll these up and start securing them to my clamp, and they just come up over. Now this is very important because you don't want them to get caught underneath your carriage.
So Carla, as you're doing this, one of the things that I love looking at is, again, I'm noticing that what we did is we clamped and the fabric rested over the surface.
Right.
And that's one of the things you mentioned. So Carla, there's no limit to the size quilt, correct?
Right, right. In fact, you can do as large as a king-size quilt or as small as a table runner or just a little wall hanging. Now we're going to put the front clamps on.
And then I do have the side one for you too.
Yeah. And I'm just going to push it down and then turn. to ratchet. And you can see how nice and straight, and the tension looks great. There we go. All right.
So before we get going, let's briefly talk about what just happened. And then we can point out a couple things, I think, to our crowd and to our visitors. So one of the things that Carla did, just to recap, is we just released the clamps. She was able to take that fabric and drape it over the entire surface. Then she could clamp it back on and create tension. Now, the tension's pretty important.
Right.
I think it's important for us when we just generally are quilting to help keep a nice even surface. And again, later on, we'll talk briefly, but you can also, depending on your domestic machine and your mid and long arm, we can add computer automation. So people feel, what am I losing? And maybe, Carl, let's ask that. What am I losing if I go to a frame that's 4.5 feet wide, so about 1.5 meters wide by a little over 1 meter deep? Are we losing much? Are we gaining much? Tell me a little bit about the experience.
You're not losing anything. You're not losing the experience or anything like that. What you are losing is the chiropractor bills from going and pushing your fabric through, and the strain on your neck and shoulders. It just liberates you as a quilter. This is a tool that is invaluable if you want to quilt and you want your quilting to look beautiful and lovely, and just make it so much easier.
With that, Carla, I love, now, I hear this all the time, and we have those giant frames, and the first thing that everybody thinks of, I think there's two big questions. First and foremost is they're really expensive, and number two is there's no way I have space.
Right.
And this product was designed to help reduce the amount of size. It's the size of a medium-sized desk. So all the ladies out there, you don't need to get rid of your dining room table. The other ones might not even fit in a room. You just can take the husband's recliner and kind of scoot that to the side, and then you have a perfect spot. So
just make sure you have focus to the TV, and you'll be okay.
Focus to the TV. So I love that. So again, it's about 4.5 feet, 1.5 meters by about 1.5 meters. I say this, and then especially in the UK, people say, well, I know that this still could be large. People want to ask, can it be stowed? Yes. The answer is you can take it down, but not necessarily an easy. So be thinking about that in your mind, because this still is something that is used in place for a period of time. And I just wanted to bring that up because we have some other things coming this next year that make that even easier.
Yeah.
But right now, you're not giving up all the space. You're able to do any size quilt, a table runner, a crib, a queen, a king, any size that you want. And we're able to start with your domestic machine. So Carla, maybe go ahead and talk a little bit and just start quilting and show us a little bit on how the machine interacts with the system too. Because I think that's one of the next is go ahead and show me how we would quilt with this.
All right. I'm just going to put my presser foot down. Very important as you're starting to quilt, something that is easily forgotten. And then I'm just going to pull my bottom thread up. You can use the functions on your machine. They're functions that you're used to using, like your thread cutter. All right, and now I'm just going to pull my foot pedal right over here because that's what I'm using on it. And then I'll just start pushing on my foot pedal. Whoops, sorry. That was the thread cutter there. And I'm in charge of my quilting, so I can decide how fast or how slow because I'm using the foot pedal. That you can see how far out I can quilt before I hit the back of the machine. But you can quilt quite a bit and quite far. And it's just so much fun. And look how easily it glides across your quilt. Oh, I ran out of bobbin.
All right, that's good. Let's go ahead and kind of talk briefly about what you just demonstrated with everybody. Let's go back, Carla, because I think a few questions that I would like to ask on behalf of some of our audience that's out there. And maybe I'll just go ahead and preface this. Like if you've been at home and you've done any quilting, you've tried to complete a quilt, there is this whole experience of pushing and managing fabric. The biggest thing that this does is it literally takes that fabric off of you, away from your arms, and gives it a place to be over the frame. That is the biggest thing that we're going to gain from this. Then we start getting the freedom of motion. But one of the things I thought we could talk about briefly as we move into part of this process would be, what we're going to be gaining as well. Now, you talked about some of the space that we're getting, and that is still limited to your machine.
Right.
And I love to not tease or fool anybody, because the biggest thing is we're getting this function and this simplicity. But I like to talk about two potential type of customers out there.
Right.
Now, there's customers who have had something like this or one of our old frames. Rob, let's bring Rob back on here. I want to ask him a couple questions as well to get some of his things that have come up in his area. But with this, if you've had something, like I've had people who've had machines for 10 years, and by the way, we do sell, maybe you can bring in for me camera one really quick. I just want to throw this to the audience. We have bigger, long machines too. And what we found is that, and we can go back to the general look here, but I've gone and said, hey, let's get you a bigger machine. And there's a group of people that they don't need bigger. Okay. What you have and what your experience is will work absolutely well. However, what we found is customer number 2 starts to really enjoy this process. And what we love to talk about is the journey.
Right.
Why don't you talk a little bit about what the journey is that somebody takes? And then I know that you've used the domestic machines. I know that you've used bigger machines. Maybe
Right.
just share what the transition has been as you've kind of quilted.
Well, when we first started quilting with the domestic machines, it was a little, I had to get used to it, because you hit the back of the machine, so your quilting area is not as large. So the next step was to move up to a little bit longer arm machine, so that I had a little bit more area, and then just add the automation on. So that's kind of my quilting journey. Is I like to increase my quilting knowledge, try new things. It's not for everybody, but that's how I learned and like to quilt.
So with that, what I'd like to do, Rob, and I know since you've been engaged with this now for a couple years, I'm guessing that you're finding a variety of users and a variety of experiences. Maybe just share with us again what you found from the beginner to a more advanced user as well. Maybe share some of your experience from that respect.
Yes, of course. Obviously, 2 years ago, we had no experience, and it became quite a steep learning curve. I was amazed how many people were coming in, buying a frame, taking it away, and starting stitching with their own domestic machine, often with stitch regulation or speed controls. And quite quickly, they became very adept, and they would bring in samples that they had stitched. And it was amazing the work they were turning out. We were absolutely enthralled by it. Later on, as these people developed, a large number of them have upgraded, whether it's to the Q15, the Q19, or on the larger frames, the Q21, because they have found the slight limitation of their domestic machine. But many of our customers are still perfectly happy with the occasional use, bring their domestic out, place it up on the frame, or maybe a spare domestic, and use that. And they have turned out some amazing work.
Wonderful. Now, Rob, with that, maybe also share with the audience, again, I know that probably most of your viewers do understand and know that you do Grace Company, but you also sell a few different lines on the domestic side. You know, like you mentioned, some people find that they want another dedicated machine. Maybe share a little bit about what's available with you regarding other domestic machines as well.
Yeah, we can offer a wide range. We do Brother, we do Janome, we do Baby Lock, but our main machine that we have sold with the Q-Zone hoop frame in domestic machines is the Janome either the 1600P or more latterly, since the update, the Janome HD9. These both work. They're tough, straight stitch machines that do a fabulous job on the quilting frame. We can also offer the Juki QVP machine, which is a mid-arm machine. They've got about 8 inches of clearance under the arm, and that has worked really well also.
Wonderful. So again, I would just love to encourage everybody again, and then maybe if you could give us your contact again, what's your phone number and what's the website if they want to go find out more about this after watching part of what we're sharing.
Of course, our phone number, 01633 281 555. My mobile, if it's outside hours, is 07836 634 731. the website and everything is on there, www.jbsewing.com, and then just click on the quilting icon and follow it down. You've got all the different categories, the frames, the machines, the accessories. We also have the finesse threads and the complete range of true cut quilting accessories, all there able to be bought straight off.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rob, for sharing those details. Now, Carla, what I would like to do is we're kind of getting a little past halfway here. I want to come back. I can't help but say, if you're at home, if you have done any piecing at all, and you're thinking about finishing it, I'll tell you that one of the biggest and most successful things you can find is getting all the way through that actual combining and the actual quilting of those pieces together to finish your gifts. And it is part of a time of year now where I know a lot of people are thinking about what we're going to do or how we're going to be giving gifts away. Carla, maybe just share before we kind of talk about a next step with our customers, some of the excitement that you've heard from customers. I noticed that this frame we're sitting at it as well. Right. Are there any other features that you would like to point out that has made this such an amazing frame? Again, this is our #1 selling frame right now.
Right.
Share with the other experiences that you've heard.
Oh, well, what's nice about it is you can sit and quilt or stand. And you're used to sitting and piecing, so it makes it just easy. Now, some quilters don't like to sit and quilt because they have back problems or something like that, so you could use a stool. It has adjustable legs. Now, we have 2 versions of the hoop frame as well. One is called the Pro version, and it comes with some extra features like the leader claws, and it's a dual track like our upgraded frames. But this frame is just so easy to use. It's small, and you can like tuck it in closer to you and really get in and get your quilting and do all those little fine details that you love. It's just so much fun. And if you are at all interested and you have any questions, just give Rob a call and let him answer those questions for you. It's just so much fun. Quilting is fun.
With that, I will come back and say, call now, because I know with what he's ordered and as we've sold through these are the most popular frame we sell, because if you put your hand up and I have a machine or I have 2 machines, this works for you. Again, you'll notice that the space is not all that large. It is, it's the size of a medium-sized desk. So yes, it'll take some space, and it's one of the most affordable as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Again, what I would ask you to do is contact Rob, because this makes it possible for you to solve and get into quilting and do more of what you love to do, finishing your quilts, but it also solves the extra struggles with the body and the aches and the pusher and the pressure and everything else that is managing fabric as a whole. So with that, what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of turn behind me here, because this is what phase #2 is as we do this. So this one, I just thought I would kind of show you. This is the same frame. And so with part of what we're looking at here on the frame is you'll notice that it's the same size, same structure. However, one of the great things is that the frame itself has a way to expand so that we can add more space in the quilting throat. And what that means is once we're ready to do so, you don't have to go buy a new frame. You don't have to go buy a new carriage. You simply can add a machine. And again, these are our machines that Rob carries. We have the 15 line. So this is a 15 machine here. The largest that we can put on here is our 19, and this is a super popular machine because this really gets into the full long arm category. And I'm just going to quickly to show you a couple simple features between the machines to let you understand that you're not going to be limited. We love talking that you can start in small increments, and when you're prepared, you can expand with those different ones. So again, this is the 19. These machines, when you look at those, the ones that Rob carries, we have the 15R and the 15 Pro. They do have stitch regulation, so you're going to find that you're going to be able to get accurate, nice, pretty stitches. You're going to find that you're going to get more space to quilt, and so we're really able to do more at one time. And Carla, if I can kind of go back to the 2 of us here really quick, I'd like to talk about conveniences.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that's great is when you're ready to have the cruise control in your car, you don't have to necessarily go trade in your car. If you buy, you're ready with the frame, you start with the frame, you just add accessories and you can build up to it. So if we come back and look at this machine, so if we're doing a 15, if we move to 15 and we're ready, you can trade this in, or we can add accessories to this machine as well. So you can still do work with lasers. You can still do what we call work with rulers. And on all of these machines that we've demonstrated today, you can also add a computer automated system. And yes, the system is smart enough that it knows how to quilt. In fact, Carla, this is a quilt that was computer automated quilted as well, right?
Right.
So this is one that we use the computer automated system on to quilt this one here. So last, I'll just kind of bring back the 19. And again, I just like showing that we end up with more space, a few more conveniences. This machine has the touchscreen, has some adjustable handles, really leads us to the next level when we're prepared to do so. So Carl, I just like kind of just sharing again that there's an experience for everybody, starting with the domestic, moving to a mid-arm, moving to a long arm, adding automation, adding accessories. With that, let's bring Rob back. And what I can ask Rob here as we kind of get ready to kind of end part of this experience with everybody. Rob, any last thoughts you would like to share regarding what you have seen regarding consumers out there with this frame there in the UK?
Yeah, when we first saw the frame, I was unbelievably excited. We had a small open day here during your first visit, and we were swamped with customers, and they all wanted it without fail. Everybody said, I want one of those, I want one of those. And I couldn't believe the response we had. These are people who, as Carla said, had struggled with the quilting, bad shoulders, bad necks. And then we produced this product that they could literally move with one hand. They loved it. Within no time at all, we had people saying, oh, that's very nice, that's with the domestic, but I see we can have the longer arm machine on. And so they were looking at both options, and quite a lot of people, even in the beginning, were buying straight away with the Q15, the 15-inch arm machine. Subsequently, with the introduction of the 19, which I must say is an absolutely delightful machine, we have found that almost as many people selecting the 19 as are selecting the 15. Because again, they love that extra space under the arm to allow them to do larger areas without moving the quilt on. It's just been a resounding success, the Q-Zone hoop frame.
Wonderful, Rob. And with that, Carla, maybe I can get a last couple thoughts from you. Then Rob, I'd like to kind of have you come back and then also finish about the experience that people know they can have. And then, you know, what else, if it's outside of the hoop frame, what other type of quilting systems and frames are you offering, maybe as we kind of conclude? But Carla, what would be some of your last thoughts you would share with our audience as they have experienced this with us today?
Just know that whatever your budget, whatever your means are, if you have been struggling with quilting and it's something that you love to do, or maybe you just want to try it out and see if it's your cup of tea, just give Rob a call and see what he has to say. Ask him all your wonderful questions, because there's no stupid question out there, and just let him help you.
Well, wonderful, Carla. I know that we've really appreciated Rob. Rob, why don't you go ahead and expand again a little bit more outside of this? You know, I know that there's probably a couple viewers that are going to see this and say, hey, that's great, but I'm also probably maybe, what if I want even a bigger system? What if I want a bigger frame? What about the computer automation? What about the accessories? Maybe share a little bit more on the inclusiveness of what you also are offering over there on behalf of Grace.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is the support we've had from Grace that have ensured that we have set up a showroom here. We have all the machines on display. We have frames, the hook frame, the Q-Zone Queen. We have the Continuum frame. We have 15R and 15 Pro machines. We have the 19 machine, 21 and 21 Pro. We also have the QCT automation, and all of this is available in our showroom for anyone to come and look at, play with, and be given instruction on. We're here to support, we're here to back up, and no problem, if for anyone who has purchased, there is no problem that is too small to trouble us with. We don't want you having problems, so therefore, pick up the phone, call me. You have my mobile, I've already given it, but I'll give it again, 07836 634 731. if you're doing a quilt and it happens to be in an evening, that's when your problem is. Ring me. We will sort you out.
Wonderful. Well, Rob, thank you very much again. I know that you're going to be super happy and very pleased by, not only having and experiencing the service that Rob and JB Sewing provides, but also with the Grace Company products. You become part of that Grace Company family. You can also look at the Grace Frame website, www.graceframe.com, for a lot of the product specific items. Again, if you're in the UK area over there, please make sure to contact Rob. You can find his information on our site up on the top under dealer locators, and you can select the country, and then you can go ahead and then ring Rob and find out and get some of those additional questions answered. But again, thanks from our perspective, Rob. Thanks for letting us join with you and all your viewers. Viewers, again, thanks from the Grace Company here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I know, Rob, again, I know it's just been wonderful. It's been a lot of fun. And thanks for allowing us to be a part of your business and the experience of your customers and your quilters.
And thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Carla, for your contribution. I'm sure it's going to help reassure our customers of the great relationship that J&B Sewing Machines has with the Grace Company. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.